Hello, this video describes how to enter immunizations and, if required, TB screening data to meet your health requirements as a new UCSF student. As a reminder, this documentation needs to be submitted and verified by Student Health before you can register. So there are two websites that you will use to complete this process. One is the Student Health website, and the other is the My Health Record portal. So to get to the Student Health website, you can just type in studenthealth.ucsf.edu to reach that page. And then also you'll see on the home page here for Student Health, there's a green button that links to My Health Record. And this is the link to the Secure Electronic Medical Record portal where you'll submit your immunization data, but also when you're a student, you'll be able to schedule and cancel appointments, securely message your providers, print your immunization summary, etc. So the first step is to understand your requirements. So on the Student Health website, under this top navigation of healthcare services, the very last item is immunization and TB screening. So if you click on that, and then on the left-hand navigation, you can see there's a section here just for new student immunizations. You click on the new student immunizations. You can see we have a description of the requirements for professional students who have patient care contact, and then also for graduate division students, which is why you are watching this video. So we'll click on graduate division requirements and see the page that will list all of the instructions about how to meet your requirements. But we're going to also step you through them here. So at the top of the page, under the very first step, you'll see a document that says immunization requirements for graduate students. So we're going to click on that link. And it'll take you to a page that lists all of the diseases for which you need to submit proof of immunity. Measles, mumps, rubella, varicella, pertussis via the Tdap vaccine, and then all students will do a TB screening questionnaire. And depending on the results of your TB screening questionnaire, you may or may not have to also submit some additional TB screening data. So let's look at one of these examples here, varicella or chickenpox. You can meet this requirement by submitting proof of immunization, which would be 2 doses of varicella vaccine, or a positive titer. So if you were vaccinated and you have the documentation for that vaccination, you can just submit that documentation. But sometimes students lose the proof of documentation or they can't find it, and instead they can get a titer drawn to prove immunity. So that brings up the question, what is a titer? A titer is a laboratory blood test that measures the presence and amount of antibodies in your blood. So a titer may be used to prove immunity to a disease. If the titer is positive, it means you have immunity. A negative, indeterminate, or equivocal titer means you do not have immunity. So if, in that instance, you'll have to receive additional vaccination. So these are the required elements, but just as an FYI, if you have other immunization documentation for non-required vaccines, such as HPV or yellow fever, hepatitis B, you may also submit those as part of your records, and we'll show you where to do that in the portal. All right, so once you've reviewed this document carefully and you understand the requirements, the next step is to log into the My Health Record portal to submit your data. So again, back on the Student Health webpage, on almost any page, including our home page, you'll have a link to the My Health Record portal. Again, it's a secure portal, a secure link to your electronic medical record portal. And so I'm going to log into my test patient account here so that you can see what this looks like. So your user ID and password for this site is the one that was sent to you by the registrar's office. And it's the same one you also use to log into the Student Academic Affairs student portal, where you can look at your classes, register for classes, pay fees, things like that. So a quick note before we move forward. Please wait until you have all of your requirements met and all of that documentation before you go to the system to enter the documentation. And here's why. So you'll see here the immunization data submission form. That's the first form you'll fill out with all of your data. And then the tuberculosis screening questionnaire. Those are the 2 required elements for health screening. But on the immunization data submission page, you see at the bottom, there is a submit final and a save partial button. So the system will allow you to enter dates in this form and save them. Student Health, however, cannot see those dates. The system also allows you to upload immunization records before you submit them, and student health can see those uploaded documents. So the problem this causes is that the nursing inbox for verification gets clogged up with documents they can't clear, because until you click submit final, we can't see your dates. And that just slows the process of verification down for all students. So we just ask that if you could possibly obtain all the required elements first and have all the documentation ready to submit before you complete that process, that would be helpful. So again, on the immunization form, we just want to point out here that you won't submit documentation for every single field. So this form is organized by required immunizations and then just other immunizations. So again, we encourage you, if you have hepatitis B or Hep A vaccine, or if you've received HPV vaccine, you can come to this section and submit that data in addition to your required elements. But the required elements are listed up here. So again, you're not going to fill out every single box on this page. So let's go over some examples why. Let's say you have been vaccinated for measles, mumps, rubella, but you can't find the proof of your vaccination. You may then go and obtain blood titers for those diseases instead, and a positive titer can also be submitted to meet that requirement. Additionally, if you complete your TB risk screening questionnaire and the questionnaire indicates that you need additional TB screening services, those are entered here under the other immunization requirements. So to meet that requirement, you can submit, let's see if we can, under here, you can submit a PPD skin test or a quantiferon blood test or a T-spot test, but you only need to submit one of these to meet the requirement. So in the immunization data submission form, you might submit a TB skin test date and reading, but you're then not going to submit information for the other elements. So these would be blank. We just do want to point out that Student Health encourages students, if you do need TB screening to receive the quantiferon gold serology testing, the blood test, we will accept a TB skin test and a T-spot test as well, but our preference is that you submit that quantiferon gold test. So again, once you're completely done, you'll just scroll to the bottom of the page, upload your immunization records, and submit final. So one thing to note is you cannot change anything or submit additional data after you've clicked submit. So just gather that information and have it ready when you get to that point. And just one last comment on the Student Health website. We'll just go back here. Towards the bottom of this instruction page are some FAQs, some frequently asked questions that students have asked over time. So we just encourage you to review those. And then the last point is, if you have additional questions about this process, you can always come to the secure portal and come to the messaging center and message Student Health with that question. So the very first, under messaging, the very first option here is send a message about new student immunization requirements. We ask that you don't submit any documentation there, but this is the place where you can come and we will be tracking very routinely to answer those questions. So again, we welcome you to UCSF and look forward to serving you in student health and counseling services.